Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We will be on right after this song and a brief word from our sponsor.
Trying to get out the city, born up in the nitty gritty. Gutter boy was treated shitty, running, flying, need no pity. Family life was blowing up, not enough love for my cup. Trying only to look up, even as a baby I knew what's up. Trying to get out the city, born up in the nitty gritty. Gutter boy was treated shitty, running, flying, need no pity. Family life was blowing up, not enough love for my cup. Trying only to look up, even as a baby I knew what's up. Ran away for college, trying to obtain that knowledge for baby boy Thomas to know himself is flawless. I was growing up in bondage, Toretic, mind unpolished, locked it up like a hostage, cause I was constantly admonished by my family, by my friends. I'm the weird kid yet again. Piss me off and I demolish you. Nothing but the honest truth, it will just astonish you. Put you in a lago too, only keep a couple few people close to me, but who? That is for me, not you, but please know that I love you too. Keep you in my heart and mind, and I will always root for you. Succeed and love your life, even get a husband, wife. Just here to make art for the soul, express my strife. But if I find a goddess, then I gotta be honest. I'll give her my entire heart, no need for being modest. All these thoughts driving through this town, it's honestly ironic. When I left at 18, said I'm never coming back, I promise. Trying to get out the city, born up in the nitty gritty. Ghetto boy was treated shitty, running, crying, need no pity. Moved on back and stuck here now, hoping things and change were wow. Post-storm leaders made a vow, then lie and steal and stay highbrow. Trying to get out the city, born up in the nitty gritty. Ghetto boy was treated shitty, running, crying, need no pity. Moved on back and stuck here now, hoping things and change were wow. Post-storm leaders made a vow, then lie and steal and stay highbrow. Panama City, politicians always clown. After Hurricane Michael, they left us all to drown. 5 million stole from FEMA, yeah, they thought they'd get a crown. Good old boy syndrome is the only party in this town. Kick them out of office, tear the entire system down. Charge $500 a month while liars lay up on the fracking ground. No power, no phone, but we're paying for it anyway. Set their ass on fire, profits over people is the way. Burn them all down, take our money back, let them pray. Beat them to the fishes and the sharks up in the bay. Take this fight national, those phonies always stray from doing what the people want, they just look to prey on our fears and feed us lies through propaganda every day. Set us against each other so that we just fray and weaken our defenses. Yes, this is their play. So vote them out of office and please don't forget to spay.
This is Thomas Tyrannic reminding you to please spay and neuter your politicians by voting them out of office and petitioning for term limits in the Senate and Congress. God bless America.
JBauerArt has the graphic design skills you need to develop your next logo and at an affordable price. But he's not just a one-trick pony. Follow JBauerArt on social media to interact during live paintings and see all of his previous artwork, which you can buy exclusively at JBauerArtShop.com. Not only is he an artist, this beautiful son of a blue brings you the Back Talk with Bauer podcast every week with unique guests. And every month he hosts a special Back Talk with Friends episode that can only be described as chaotic and hilarious. Need a video intro or commercial? JBauerArt has you covered. For all of this and more, follow JBauerArt on social media. That's JBauerArt. Check out JBauerArt.com for a full portfolio and JBauerArtShop.com to buy that special painting for you and your loved ones.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It is March 11th, 2021, and welcome to episode 48 of Lights Thunder Action, where every week we discuss all things Marvel, Star Wars, DC, and the latest happenings in the entertainment industry. I'm Thomas Carter Rochester, aka the Son of Dale.
My name's David Thompson, and today we say goodbye to WandaVision. It's finally come to an end, ladies and gentlemen. This is kind of our in-between week of MCU projects, which is amazing. Now we only have a week, really, and even tomorrow we get the assembled WandaVision behind-the-scenes series on Disney Plus, so go check out that. But this is really a week of saying goodbye to WandaVision and talking about what's on the horizon. But of course, today we are not alone. We are joined today from the HWWS WebTV family, which we are a part of, from Back Talk with Bauer, artist, special graphic designer, specialist, person, guy, awesome dude. Welcome in, Josh Bauer.
What's up, guys? How are you?
Doing very good.
Doing well. I was late on the sound effect. I'm so sorry, everyone. I know.
There we go.
Flourish.
Josh, how you doing?
Good, man. Good. It was a rough start getting into here this evening. And a laptop and a router was almost thrown out the window a few times. But we're better now. We took a deep breath and we're gonna have some fun. And we'll see if my computer survives.
Well, let's hope all of ours survive. I'm glad you're doing well. Glad you're able to join us finally. Thomas,
Yes.
How are you doing today, sir? You're in a different area again.
I'm-
This week you're a different spot. Now you're in another one.
I'm like fluid, like the air, man. No, I'm just kidding. How am I?
Yeah.
I've been feeling weirdy all day. Can't deny myself an opportunity to use that one. No, dude, I'm good. I'm tired. I'm working all the time.
Yep.
Life is long. Life is short. Life is exhausting. I really wish I could sleep a little bit longer every day, but that's all right, man. I actually have watched a lot of stuff this week because I can't sleep. So fun times. David, how are you?
I'm doing pretty good. Part of it is because of something I have been watching that I've gotten really into. But yeah, I'm doing good in general, man. WandaVision wrapped up. Work at the direct still going on. Regular work still happening too. Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. I'm happy to be here today. I got the this Black Panther comic in the mail. Actually, like the day after we went live, like last Friday, I guess. It's written by the guy who's leading the writing team for the next Superman movie. I keep forgetting how to pronounce his first name, but Mr. Coates himself. Apparently his comic is amazing. That's why I picked it up. And especially with him working on Superman, I just really wanted to check out some of his work in comics. So yeah, I'm really excited to give this a read. And that's kind of part of like, we've kind of already moved into what we've been watching. So Thomas, what have you been watching?
Well, Josh, let's ask you first off, what have you been watching?
Let's see. Just the last couple of days, other than WandaVision, I got into, I realized a bunch of new episodes were out for Last Man Standing, the Tim Allen TV show. And been catching up on that. Really cool how they dealt with the pandemic stuff. There's probably the first show I've watched that really kind of didn't dwell in it much, but the very first episode's really into it, and kind of they do like a quick little, the whole first episode's like going through it kind of fast and what they kind of experienced a little bit, and then they kind of time jump, so you're in the future of the show for this last season. So it's been really cool. They've been touching on a lot of subjects that are big right now and over the past couple year or so. So I've been digging that randomly last night because I like, just if I'm in the middle of painting, I like to put something on that I've watched a few times just so I don't have to pay a ton of attention to it. So I tossed on the very first couple episodes of The Simpsons last night, courtesy of Disney Plus. And wow, I forgot how messed up the animation is back then. It's a rough look to them.
Yeah. Back in season 1, I wasn't even alive.
Yeah, and I don't think I was either. Maybe just barely, but I remember seeing some of them because they always played the reruns and stuff when I was a kid like that. So I'd catch a few here and there, but it's crazy to see how different the characters were, the voices are. Like if you watched, like I grew up probably maybe a couple years after they started and watched like a good few years of them.
Yeah.
And then have caught some newer stuff over the past couple of years. It's a jump. If you go from like the first episode to recent episode, it's a jump in animation, but it's crazy.
So Thomas, what have you been watching, man?
What have I been watching? Well, obviously, because I'm addicted to football, NFL Live. It's the only show I watch religiously.
Yeah.
And I don't know if anybody knows this, but I'm a bit of a Cowboys fan. And all I can say is Jerry finally caught up to the rest of the world and paid my man, Dak Prescott.
Yeah.
And hype city. Yeah. I've been hype all week. I've been wearing Dak shirt all week. I'm ready. I'm excited. It's about damn time. But also randomly because, the Snyder Cut leaked this week.
Yeah, right.
From its own provider. So I thought, I'll go click on Tom and Jerry and see if, maybe it'll pop up and I'll watch the Snyder Cut, for the next 4 hours. And then Tom and Jerry came on, and I just watched Tom and Jerry instead.
I actually watched that too this weekend.
Oh, really?
Oh, okay.
I did.
What did you think?
I loved the story and how it went. It was a good watch. It's not like I wouldn't go with groundbreaking or anything. It's a good Tom and Jerry thing. I think it's one of the better movies they've done.
Yeah,
it's very cute. I really love the main actress in it because I loved her from Hit Girl and everything. So I was excited to see her in something else.
Mm-hmm.
The only complaint I have is, and I don't know how to express it, but like the animation or the style of animation was too good. Like they tried to do 2D and 3D at the same time. It's I don't know if you caught it at all, Thomas, but like sometimes it just looked, I don't know. It was like you could almost see the 3D-ness in them, but it was almost like they like layered paper over top of each other, and they kind of like pop off a little bit, but it's just in a very weird way. So like every once in a while I'd kind of get caught into like, man, Tom looking kind of weird at the moment. But my wife was actually, because she wasn't watching it with me, she was in another room reading a book or something, doing smart kid things, and I would like occasionally like just start busting up laughing. Yeah, there was some good funny parts in it, and there was a lot of classic Tom and Jerry stuff, and there was also a lot of stuff that I know I've seen in the cartoons before. But if you think about it as like just new generation watching it for the first time, they've never seen this stuff, so it would be funny. But I'm like, oh, I remember seeing this and different cartoon styles that they did.
Yes. Right. Yeah. No, I thought I really just thought the movie was endearing as fuck. Because it's just so cute, man. Yeah. Like I went in and I was like, we'll see what it is. And I was like, I mean, I do like Tom and Jerry. So at the very least, I'm going to be like, cool, it's Tom and Jerry.
Right.
The plot of the human characters was actually a decent plot. And it had Michael Pena just killing it as always. He also got to say, I'm the boss. Like in the same, he's like, I'm the boss. And I was like, ha. Nice. Chloe Grace Moretz just crushes this whole movie. This whole movie is basically just her showing out.
Yeah.
It's almost similar to like the Muppet movies where there's a bunch of Muppets and you get a couple of live action actors in there and it's all based on them. Really, that's how it really felt with her. David, I genuinely think you would enjoy. Well, wait, David, first, are you a Tom and Jerry fan?
Yeah. So when I was little, I don't know if you guys remember the Boomerang channel. Do you guys get that? At any point?
Yeah.
It's like the one. Yeah, it's always the one that was near Cartoon Network, but it was always the old school like retro or cartoons. I mean, and Tom and Jerry was my favorite of like the old ones. Like when it came to not Scooby Doo, that was kind of like. You could find that on Boomerang or Cartoon Network, depending on the day. But like Flintstones, the Jetsons. There's one more I remember I kind of liked, but I didn't always. Tom and Jerry basically was my mainstay on Boomerang. Like that's the one I liked the most for whatever reason. And I haven't watched the HBO Max film or anything. I heard, honestly, you guys have given it the best reviews I've seen. So maybe now I will go check it out because before then I was kind of seeing meh reviews. And I did. It's funny Josh mentioned that about the animation style, because I noticed that just from the trailer, how it looked a little funky. And I know what you're talking about, where it's like 2D, 3D-ish. Like, I'm sure
they didn't really know where to go with it. And I think they were trying to get them to fit in world, but still be 2D. So you got this like weird stepchild of it. But if you are a fan of Tom and Jerry and you watch the cartoons and enjoyed the cartoons, you're gonna like the movie. I mean, it's all the classic stuff, all the classic things. And but you know, probably movie wise, like looking at it as a movie film critic or you know, trying to score it as a movie, probably not the strongest movie. Good, and it's a good kids movie.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and that's the goal, right? You're making a Tom and Jerry film. You're putting it day and date on HBO Max. This is for your kids. This is when you're, the HBO Max, something for our kids. Let's turn this on. It's in theaters too, right? I guess, like wherever theaters are open. Yeah. Okay. We're going to get to it in a little bit, but I'm still waiting, obviously, for Regal to open up in my area, where it's like the only theater here, are Regal theaters. But this would be a movie where I'd almost be more inclined to go to the theater and see it, just because I'd have to be forced to watch it. But also, I could see where just having it on the background could be fun. So I might check it out. Thomas, was there anything else you've watched recently?
I quite literally just finished Superman and Lois episode 3.
Oh, okay.
I am not a Superman fan. I say this a lot. Damn it, if this isn't my favorite take on Superman.
Really?
Really? And like, I like what Henry Cavill did. He's got his own thing going on with Superman. But the thing that I love the most about Christopher Reeves was like, he was just every dude. And he really, you know, he made the whole just putting on glasses thing completely work.
Yeah.
And Tyler, however you say his last name, is very similar. And it's the exact same thing. Like when he's trying to be a dad, he's a terrible, like, he always says the wrong thing. He always does the wrong thing. And it always gets turned around. And he's like, damn it, I just keep making mistakes here. But as Superman, you know, like the opening sequence of this episode, there's this whole thing where all of a sudden something in China happens and he flies over, saves them, and flies back.
Oh, wow.
And it's like, whoa. Like, cool. That's like the only 100% positive thing that he's able to pull off, like the whole episode. Everything else had shades of gray. So really good, man. Superman and Lois, highly recommend it. David, get on your butt and start watching it.
Yeah. Here's my answer. I have been binging my first ever, like, really properly watching anime show, Attack on Titan. Which,
how far are you now?
So a lot farther than last time I checked in. I am almost done of season 3. We are now, trust me. Me and my friend, we both have PlayStations and we can be in the PlayStation party on the Hulu app at the same time. And we've literally the last couple of days just sat like in sync, being like, all right, what time code are you at? Pause, play. And then he's already seen it before, but he loves the show so much. He's like bored enough, I guess, to also rewatch it with me. And that helps me watch it again because it's fun, you know, clarifying questions, just like knowing when you're really supposed to be paying attention, I guess, to like the hype building. Attack on Titan, like, to me, it's funny. I was having this conversation with my friends because I have a lot of friends that are into anime, just a lot of different like anime shows, and I've never really been into it. I've been, you know, they've been trying to get me onto certain shows for what feels like years now. Finally, Attack on Titan has really stuck, and season 4 is happening right now, so I'm almost caught up, nearly to like current day what's happening. Obviously with anime, like the manga, the comic books are ahead of schedule, so you can kind of like find out what's happening if you read ahead, but I don't know if I'll do that. Anyway, we were talking about anime and how, I don't know, I feel like I like anime, quote unquote. That's such a silly thing to say because every show is different, and not even are they different in their story, but even just the genre. I mean, I had another friend telling me how he's watching like a rom-com anime and he loves it. It's just a style, really. It's just a regional style. It's a medium. And I feel like there's almost a taboo around it, at least like for some people, where it's like, oh, you like anime. I've been one of the people that's been almost like that because it's never stuck with me. I have a lot of friends that are really into it. And I think changing my point of view on it and thinking like every show's different, you know what I mean? Like it's not all this is like anime. If you like one anime, you like another. That's not true at all. even though it seems like with some people that just happens to be the way it goes. They just love anime in general, which I get it. The art style is super cool, especially Attack on Titan. It's pretty like new. I think season 4 is right now, so obviously it's current day, but season 3 was 2018 when it was being made. And the animation style is just amazing. The way it looks sometimes. And I've mentioned it before, but there's this part of the neither of you have seen it. Josh, have you seen it before?
I've seen clips, but I've never seen a full episode or anything.
Okay, yeah. So basically there's this OPM, just like a little part of the show. So there's this OPM gear where it basically like straps to your hips and it makes them be able to like kind of like shoot through like a city like Spider-Man, like kind of swing through like. And obviously I'm a big Spider-Man fan, so I'm a sucker for that. So yeah, I have been binging Attack on Titan. I am really moving through that. I think it's a fantastic show. Like there's moments where I'm just in awe and nearly in tears, which for me isn't a normal occurrence. Like just sitting back and watching a show or anything really. So I am really into that. I can definitely recommend it. That's really like, it's the first anime show I've ever really gotten into like this. So I'll probably be binging that after this show as well. The other thing I watched was I rewatched Doctor Strange. And last week, Thomas, I'm sure remembers, I said I wanted to. And a big part of that is because, spoiler alert, the end of WandaVision and just all that stuff with the mystic arts and the magic elements and even the multiversal stuff, which you forget, you know, I'm rewatching it and I'm like, the Agent One is just talking about the multiverse like it's nothing. And I think almost her casual cadence in how she talked about the multiverse made it so fans didn't think the multiverse is real because she talks about it like it's anything. She even says at one point like, oh, we draw power from the multiverse to use magic. Like simply just that. They're using the multiverse all the time. And I just think it's so funny. Me and Thomas know this so well. The farther some projects go, like are in the rearview mirror for the MCU, the better they get. Like Age of Ultron, if you watch it today, it'd be the best time you've ever seen it if you're caught up on everything else MCU because the story has just grown. You've seen what they were building there. You saw what they started, and it's amazing. Same ish with Doctor Strange. Like there's a lot of stuff, especially after WandaVision, with they're really setting up sorcerers and witches and all this like magical beings and stuff. And it's just, I cannot be more excited for how Wanda's going to play into Doctor Strange 2. We'll talk about this at the end of the show as well, just kind of about the MCU and stuff, but I cannot wait. Also, just Doctor Strange, he's a great character. I'm terribly, terribly sad. It's going to be 6 years in between releases of these movies. Like I can't fathom that still. Like this was a 2016 film and it leaves so much open. I mean, the last time Doctor Strange had was in his own proper solo film, he wasn't even the Sorcerer Supreme yet, really. Like it is an origin story, like through and through. And we see, you know, the great thing about the MCU is we've seen a continuation of him, you know, in Ragnarok, in Infinity War, in Endgame, but never properly on his own. And not to be a downer, but I'm starting to think the whole multiverse, you know, multiverse of madness, it may not be as fan crazy multiversal stuff that we all want to see, and more in line with like what could fit that story a little more naturally. We still could have the really fun Easter eggs and cameos, of course, but I don't think it's going to be this. I don't think it's going to be like as on the nose or as, I don't know, I guess thorough as you guys know, like the Spider-Verse stuff in the comics, how there's like so many Spider-Mans and all this stuff. Like, I don't know if it's going to be quite like that because the multiverse in Doctor Strange is just simply a thing. So if you think about it that way, multiverse of madness, they talk about it. I mean, Mordo is talking about it, how like pulling from the dark dimension and stuff. It just kind of changed my perspective and kind of reeled me back in from how far we've gone the last like year of speculating about the multiverse and how it's already kind of upon us. We just haven't seen, you know, random characters we already know in our universes and stuff like that, where people are more like fantasizing of how it'll look when, you know, the Ancient One literally says every time like Doctor Strange is using magic, he's pulling it from the multiverse. So anyway, that's my long-winded answer is that you watch Doctor Strange. And every time, I'm telling you, you get more and more every time you rewatch an MCU project. It's just amazing. Like the fact that they've done that and they've built that over the last, what is it now, 13 years or so, it's truly incredible that you can still go back, watch a film in 2016, and you're getting so much more information and adding so much more context to it to lead to the future. So anyway, I was watching and listening to that, and it was just fantastic. But if
really quick, you know what's interesting about that? That, that Doctor Strange is actually supposed to be weaker than
Scarlet Witch.
Yeah. I mean, let's put a pin in that. I want to talk about that later because I feel like that could be a big point of conflict in Doctor Strange 2.
Yes, so do I. And I really just wanted an excuse so that everyone could listen to those great sound clips. But if you would like to listen to our audio podcast, David, where can everyone find that?
Yeah, you guys can find that on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcast, and our hosting site, Spreaker. Driving your car, going for a walk, going for a run. Don't want to look at all of our ugly mugs. Sans Josh, of course. Of course, you want to look at Josh.
Yes.
Always check out our audio podcast. We have all our full catalog of all of our live shows up on there. Our interviews, everything, LightsThunderAction, all of our good videos are in audio form on those channels. If you're feeling
generous,
yes.
I was going with froggy. I'm like, I don't think that's the word he wants.
Follow us, subscribe, maybe even leave us a 5-star review or write something nice about us. Anything we appreciate. Just go check us out on all of those platforms. Thomas, what else you got for me?
And every week, as you know, we are live streaming directly into your homes and phones via our Facebook page and the HWWS WebTV channel on YouTube. If you would like to go to any of our social medias, you can go to Linktr.com/LightsThunderAction. That is Linktr.com/LightsThunderAction. That is really hard to do, but I think I can pull it off. Never again. And of course, subscribe to HWWS WebTV on YouTube. Follow them on Facebook. Whatever you do on the Twitter, you do that one there too as well. We are going to take our first brief commercial break, and we will come back after that and go into everyone's favorite segment of the week.
Reels and Heels is a podcast that discusses movies, television, wrestling, and more. With a rotating guest list of friends and filmmakers alike, Reels and Heels salutes the creative arts of all kinds. Join Brian Winzeloff and Nicole Jobin live every Saturday at 2:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Reels and Heels.
From the mind of Christopher Michael comes Crit, Convert Reconnaissance Infiltration Team. When he decided to create Crit, he used a resource that he knew well, Dungeons and Dragons, and developed the story organically through the actions of players by recording the game sessions, and turns that story into the comic you read. Over 100 pages of content, action-packed and explosively fun, Crit is a superhero journey of discovery. It comes with 4 action-packed, fun-filled books, all in one package. Crit by Christopher Michael is on Kickstarter now. A small-town coroner has to team up with her ex-fiancé to save her town from a swarm of mutant honeybees. There's action, drama, humor, maybe even a flamethrower or two. There's definitely a ton of bad bee puns and a very unlikely Hawaiian-wearing hero. This classic sci-fi feature Cheese Fest, written and directed by Alicia Marie and starring local talent from the Emerald Coast, invites you to join our journey from conception to reception by visiting Linktr.com/zombies the movie to keep up with all the buzz and donate to GoFundMe. Again, that's Zombies the Movie, ZOMBEEZTHE movie.
What the news?
All right, ladies and gentlemen, what the news time of this week? It's a lighter week. There's not that much breaking, world-shattering news as we've had maybe the last few weeks, but hey, there is still news. I found the news, of course. Here we go. And this is a big piece of news, especially these first two. They tie right in together. The first one is Disney CEO Bob Chapek, something like that.
One of those two. Good old Bob, friend of the show.
One of the two Bobs from Disney. He said that Black Widow is still set to release in theaters. I'm going to read the exact quote in a second. In theaters on May 7th, 2021. So currently, people have been speculating. Obviously, the vaccine's rolling out. Theaters are going to start reopening soon, or they are starting to reopen, and movies are coming out in theaters. I mean, Kong versus Godzilla will be the big test at the end of March.
I can't wait.
Disney seems like they're still, really just stuck on May 7th in theaters, which I am very excited about. Here's the full quote, and then I get you guys' thoughts. This was during, I think, a shareholder meeting, something like that. Next up is Marvel's highly anticipated spy thriller, Black Widow, featuring an all-star cast that includes Oscar nominee Scarlett Johansson, currently set to release in theaters on May 7th. I know Marvel fans have been looking forward to this film for a long time, and I promise you, it's well worth the wait. It's absolutely fantastic. Obviously, he's going to say those kind words about it. But, guys, he says, still on pace, or what does he say exactly? Currently set for release. So currently, things could obviously change. We know over the last year of me and Thomas doing this podcast that things change. Things have gotten delayed left and right. But currently, it is still set to come out in theaters May 7th. Josh, what are your thoughts on this?
I'm ready for it. This will be the first movie. This will probably be right now the only movie that will get me to go to a theater currently. Yeah. Like I'm really digging the how Warner Brothers is rolling with, it goes to the theater and HBO Max at the same time.
Right.
So I'm just not ready to sit by that many people at one time. Yeah. But Black Widow is going to be the one that gets me out and gets me into a theater, because I've been curious to see how this movie works. Especially, this movie, you're basically going back in time, possibly in two different times. It's supposed to be set between what is it, Winter Soldier and Infinity War?
Well, it's
Civil War and Infinity War.
Civil War and Infinity War, yeah. And then there also, it looks like there might be some parts that go farther back in time, maybe to her beginning and everything. So I'm very curious, because this was supposed to kick off this new phase when everything was normal and the world didn't go to hell. But this was supposed to kick it off. So now you're getting it technically, third in line? Because I know Falcon and Winter Soldier will come out next.
Third, yep.
And now this. So I'm curious. I've been really curious this whole time in this year is how they've changed everything around, moved stuff around, and how this will be affected either by the shows that have come out first, or how it's going to affect coming, later, because it has to have something significant in it for it to even come out, number one, and it has to affect something into Phase 4, because if it doesn't, what is the point of this movie?
Yeah, I would say people would. Oh, sorry.
Well, I was going to say it's going to tie into Hawkeye.
I hope.
There's characters from Black Widow that will tie into Hawkeye. Of course, I'm never going to get off the molehill of the Thunderbolts showing up in some, beginning in some fashion in Black Widow. Really, whatever we get that set during that 5-year gap is when we really are going to get the Thunderbolts, though. Just so we're very clear. But it's going to tie in that way. And I'm not even going to lie. I'm totally going to go see Godzilla and Kong in theaters. 100%.
Same.
I thought about going to see Raya and the Last Dragon. I haven't done that yet. Maybe we'll see what happens. I don't know.
I have a quick story, Thomas. Quick side note, quick tangent.
Is it breaking news?
Absolutely not. This is not breaking news.
By the way, my wife thought I was breaking something when they heard this noise from the other room. They were freaking out that I was more pissed off and breaking things. So
no. My non-breaking news. Sorry for the alarm. It was just so. I live in Gainesville, Florida, and everywhere here in Gainesville, there's 3 theaters. They're all Regal. Regal theaters have not opened up yet in the United States or anywhere for that matter. Right. And so last weekend, I think it was. I'm like, Thomas knows this, Josh. I am a huge theater fanatic. I just absolutely love the theater experience, and I was itching to go. So I'm thinking, what's the closest theater open to here? You know, there has to be one because there was some stuff in theaters. Raya was in theaters, Chaos Walking, Cherry, you know, 2 Tom Holland films. My girlfriend Jasmine was like, oh, that Chaos Walking movie, I've seen it on TikTok or whatever. Like, I'd kind of like to see that. So I looked into a theater being open. There was one in Ocala, which is maybe like 35 minutes from here, 40 minutes ish. And I really wanted to go. We didn't end up making it. I kind of forget why now. Something meant maybe it was the dog or something. We couldn't make it for whatever reason, but I almost made it back to a theater, Thomas. I almost made it, and I couldn't wait to talk about it. But no, I haven't made it back yet. But yeah, Thomas, what'd you think of this Black Widow announcement? Or
duh.
Yeah.
To keep it short and sweet, like I kind of just like, yeah, I already assumed that. There's no way you're gonna move that date. It's more of, are you gonna put it on Disney Plus Premier Access?
Yeah.
And really, it comes down to Raya.
Yeah.
In all honesty, now here's the weird thing, though. I would rather see Raya. It's not that weird. I would rather see any movie in the theaters. But if it came down to either Black Widow on Disney Plus or Black Widow in the theater, and they only choose one, and then we have to make that kind of choice thing, then I would rather them just put Black Widow on Disney Plus. It'll make all the money. It'll change the game because it's Marvel and everyone needs it. And they can totally take advantage of us because of the internet age to force our hand into buying $30 for a effing movie, man. Like,
I think that's ridiculous.
And I would probably do it.
Yeah.
I can't even lie.
Yeah.
I would do it in a heartbeat for Black Widow.
Oh,
I
would
I've been
give me
teeter-tottering. But
I-
Black Widow in a heartbeat.
Yeah, I mean, I think you brought it up, Thomas. That's the big question now. I think they're stuck on May 7th, at least I hope. And if they ever did delay it, if they decided to, I think it would only be like 3 or 4 weeks. I don't think it would be the major jump. I mean, we just saw, which is a good sign, we just saw Fast 9 jump like just back a month or so, maybe 2 months back. I think it was just a month from like late May to late June. That's a good sign, ladies and gentlemen, because that's not oh my gosh, this is a disaster. We have to drop it back a whole nother year. No, it's like, all right, we're just going to give ourselves a little more time, put it right on the same date as Venom for whatever reason, which I'm starting to think Venom's going to move now. But I think Black Widow will stay on May 7th. I still have an inclination that it's going to do Premier Access. And on top of what you said, Thomas, that Raya is the big, like, show me if this can work or not. On top of that, I think it's also seeing a movie like, well, what it'll be? It'll be Kong versus Godzilla, then Mortal Kombat, like these other big movie theater experiences. What happens to them at the box office? Because Raya right now is not doing well at the box office. But, Regal's not even open yet.
On Disney Plus.
We don't really know. I'm sure it's doing great. I hope so anyway, because I'm going to go see it in a theater, but I think just so everyone could go see it, I would really like if it's on day and date Disney Plus Premier Access, also in theaters. Like that seems like the best option. I think their reasoning, unlike HBO and Warner Media, for wanting to stay in theaters, is keeping the theaters alive at this point. I mean, we've kind of gotten off that, but for the long time during this whole pandemic thing, it's been, are the theaters going to even survive this? And a part of that now is, with the vaccine rolling out, with numbers hopefully continuing to still drop, is getting people back in the theaters and having them generate money. Or we're never going to get back close to 2019's box office. Another point I want to point out, and then we can get to the next bit of news that is directly tied into this. So we could keep talking about Black Widow if we wanted to.
We will.
Yeah, exactly. We will. It's the big MCU movie that's supposed to come out. The box office in China is doing amazing right now. So you got to think, if you're Disney, if you're Warner Media, if you're Universal, Fast 9, Sony, these are global releases. You're not just releasing them domestically. You have to see how things are doing overseas as well, in China, other places. Like, how well can it do? Is it going to be enough to keep it alive? The thing is, where I get dubious, where I think they could do the whole Premier Access thing, is there's no way it's making close to $1 billion. There's just no chance. In May, it's still going to be too early. Despite, honestly, even if like the same amount of people wanted to go see it, it's still going to be, you can't even cram into a theater. It'll be like 25% capacity, 50% capacity.
Well, and that's even, you're going, it's just 2 months away, less than that. And you just said there's no theaters open by you.
Yeah.
I mean, Regal's not open. Is Regal going to open by the time Black Widow comes out? Because that's going to be a big problem.
Well, I'm glad you asked that, Josh. So leading into our second bit of news here, apparently the theaters in Los Angeles are going to be reopening possibly as soon as this weekend, which is great news because speaking of Regal, they announced... Thank you. They announced when the New York City theaters reopened that they need LA to reopen in order for Regal to finally open back their doors and let their theaters play films. So this is coming via Deadline's Rebecca Rubin. I've got 2 bits from this article. Of course, the opening was just saying that theaters in Los Angeles could start opening as early as this Saturday, so just a couple of days from now. The county had to meet several requirements, such as distributing 2 million vaccine doses to underserved populations and having fewer than 10 new cases a day per 100,000 people. Governor Gavin Newsom said California should hit the vaccine milestone on Friday. Once the state reaches that threshold, county officials will have to sign off in order for cinemas to reopen. So basically, if they hit that mark, they can reopen, right? Moving on. When they do get the green light, multiplexes in the country's most populous county will be able to operate at 25% capacity or 100 people. So either or, whichever is less, pretty much. Gyms and indoor dining at limited capacity will also be included as California continues into the red tier, which is like a less restricted tier. I think the purple tier, they were saying. And then I wanted to point out a quick side note to all of this with the theater is that Raya has now grossed only $9.5 million domestically. I think it's more around a little less than 30 million globally. But think about it, guys. Like back in the day, like 2 years ago, that's really not a lot. Obviously, Raya is on Disney Plus Premier Access, but basically, hopefully, this means Regal will open up soon, which I'm very happy about. But LA has been the next big domino to fall in theaters reopening because obviously, I think I read something where New York and LA are like 5% of all theater revenue in the entire country. Which, if you think about that, that's 2 cities. So it's pretty crazy. Anyway, that percentage might have been 3%. But anyway, so don't quote me on that. What did you guys think of this? Josh, let's start with you. What do you think of LA possibly reopening their theaters and maybe even the Raya results so far?
I think it's so crazy because we live in Florida and Florida gives 0 Fs about what's going on right now. So, everybody's been everywhere going on everything. Yeah. I mean, I was even just at a small convention. It was all outdoors and everything, but we were just at a small convention, Sci-Fi Bartow, a couple weeks ago.
That's cool.
Yeah. So like Florida, and then you think of LA, and I watch a YouTube channel called New Rockstars, and they're mostly based in LA. And they're like, yeah, we still can't go do this. We're still in. They're still in their own individual homes. They're not even going into the studio at all. And it's just mind blowing that how locked down California has been able to control people. And whatever you want to call it, but just kept everything so locked down. But this is a sign of things are slowly going back to whatever normal is going to be, and it's nice. It's nice to hear. It's, it feels like there's an end to this shit tunnel and you can kind of see the light now, and it's slow moving, but we're finally getting there, and hopefully more things will open up and things will go. When it comes to the Raya stuff, I still want to see it. The $30 price tag is a little much, but I paid it before. More, I just have to wait until next pay. Right now it's like, I'm in between pays. So, if I had an extra $30, then hell yeah, I'd buy it and watch it because
I've heard it's really good,
really cool. Yeah, I'm a big martial arts fan. I love martial arts style movies, and it looks very cool, very funny. very Disney, and it would be nice to check it out. I'm just worried that some of these numbers, like, people are going to start getting twitchy or something, like, stuff may get pulled or pushed back or something because things aren't hitting the numbers that people want when half the stuff still isn't even open to make that happen.
Yeah. Thomas, what do you think of all this?
Finally. This is exciting because now it genuinely might end up with Black Widow getting released in theaters.
Yes.
And which means, and even if people don't go, that's one thing. That's a whole different part of this argument. For it just being released is all I'm asking for right now.
Giving people the option to go.
Yeah. And if they do premiere access with the go to the theater thing, I'm not ashamed to say I'll do both.
Yeah.
Because going to the theater once for me, $10.
Mm-hmm.
But to watch it multiple times, if I spend $10 and I go again and I stick to that budget, okay, I spent $20. I saw it twice.
Yeah.
For $20 more, I can watch it until I cancel Disney Plus, which at this point it's a business expense. So never.
Yeah. I mean, what's funny is there's something straight to VOD, straight to streaming. It loses something to me because of what I tried to say, like the pausing, the replaying of it. You know what I mean? Like the theater, there's no pausing, there's no turning on subtitles. There's no, what did she say? What happened? You know what I mean? Like
there's no rewind.
Yeah, exactly. There's something
there's
to
all
it.
That.
There's no skip intro. I don't know. There's something to it for me that I just love, and that you have to pay attention. I find myself so often, guarantee you, when I'm watching the Snyder Cut for 4 hours, I'm gonna be doing it on my laptop, maybe like on my phone, like glancing down. I'm not gonna just stare at my TV for 4 straight hours. There's no chance. Also, there's no chance.
Stare at it 4 hours and you don't blink once.
Yeah. Sorry, Zack Snyder. I'll try my best. But anyway, I'm ecstatic for this, just selfishly, because Regal's probably gonna open up now. And my goal, what I've been thinking, I just want Regal, a theater near me, simply to be open for Kong versus Godzilla, because that's that next film that I really. To me, watching that on HBO Max feels like a waste. It could still be a fun experience and like a good half decent movie. But come on, 2 monsters fighting, that's an on-screen experience, which I am annoyed it's the first one coming out, because the least amount of people are going to see it this early on. If it came out maybe in July or something, more people would go out and see it. But of course, I'm happy we're getting anything at this point. Just new content is great. But for me, seeing Godzilla and Kong go at it for 2 hours, I need to see that in theaters. So I'm hoping at least by then Regal will open up and I'll be able to see it then. But this is, I think, positive news. I think as more and more vaccines get out there and cases hopefully continue to drop, that this could be a sign for a plentiful summer blockbuster, season, because there is a lot of stuff coming over the summer. And I'm hoping by then that things could really be opening up and people could be rushing out to the theater. Socially distant.
I just want things good to go for Spider-Man 3. That's my main one. It's have everybody stuff together by the time December hits, because I want my Spider-Man 3.
Absolutely. I'm right there with you. I don't want that delayed. I don't want that touched. I hope by then, fingers crossed, I hope it's more than 25 or 50%. I hope you can pack. I really hope you can pack a theater by then and just live it.
Yeah.
I want the chill. I want snot from my neighbor when he sneezes. I love that. Especially in my popcorn. It's 100%. It's the way to be, bro.
Speaking of another movie coming down, Pack, it's going to be a while, but Michael B. Jordan is officially set to get his directorial debut in Creed 3. Obviously, he starred in Creed 1 and Creed 2. He did not direct either of those movies, but now apparently it is set to release on May 23rd, 2022. And before I ask you guys about this, and obviously Michael B. Jordan directing a film, what do you guys think of the first 2 Creeds? Are you into this series? Do you care about this at all? Josh, what are your thoughts on Creed?
I have not watched either Creed.
Oh, okay.
I think I own both, actually. I know I
really?
own the first one. I don't know if I own the second one or not. But it's one of those ones that I keep wanting to watch and just never like I always end up watching something else or for some reason or something like that. So yeah, it's one of those ones that's on my watch list, just haven't made it yet. I've seen a bunch of clips through it and a bunch of different things here and there. And it looks really cool, and I'm really cool, and I'm always interested in movies where the actor and the director are the same person. So that would be really cool to see how he does it, if he does anything different or anything. And I've actually been surprised because I haven't watched the movies when they're like, "Oh, we're coming out with Creed 2." I'm like, "Well, I guess Creed 1 was really good." And now with this announcement, I'm like, "Okay, I guess the first two are really good." So, I definitely got to get into them.
Creed 1 is very good. Creed 2 is good, but it's not as good to me. Anyway, that's just not it wasn't quite as good, but the story of Creed 1 is just really good, really solid. Michael B. Jordan does a great job. Same with Sylvester Stallone. Like it is just, they really nailed it. And I think 2 and 3 is being kind of propelled just by that first one. I think once they made a sequel, the third one was going to happen if it did decently at the box office, which it totally did. It's a fun movie. Like, they're great movies. He's really good in the role. He was really like built for this kind of role, like his persona and just like his whole personality. And he's done a lot of great work in his career. I think he's going to do a great job directing. Just even based off interviews I've heard with him, he seems like that's he is a producer. I think at heart, he's a creative guy. He's not just an actor. I think that's really a part of him, where he's almost like Chris Evans in that way, where he's like done directing now and producing, and he really wants to get into that sort of thing. And I think that can only build your acting career too, because I found that, at least it seems that way, once actors, the ones that do ever want to, dive into directing or producing, once they kind of have that experience, it really can even help like just amplify and uplift how good they are as an actor, because now they know the other side of it, right? They can relate more in this way. And they can see more, I think, perspectives on acting and take more tidbits from people. Thomas, you're into Creed, right? What are your thoughts on this? Or are you not?
I've not seen either of the first two either.
Okay, good.
I know, man. Like as soon as Josh said that, I don't know if he saw my reaction, but I kind of I showed my cards early.
Well, all right.
No, but seriously, like, I've not seen him. I wanted to. I just haven't gotten around.
You haven't seen him.
I know, man. It's probably because I haven't even seen. Hold on. To be fair, I've not seen the 6th or 7th Rocky movie, whichever one I stopped at. All right, I stopped at Rocky Balboa when he was just street fighting for the sake of fighting. Anyways,
well, I'll show you how.
I was 10, and I still don't get it.
All the Creed movies.
Well, now you can give me shit, but when you watch, Rebels, then you can get on my level. I'm sorry, Cap. I'm very sorry.
Language.
My bad. I know.
But yeah, I mean, hey guys, you have time to catch up though, because November 2022. It's like over a year and a half away.
That's so like 10 years from now.
That's so close.
You guys have plenty of time to catch up.
Listen, as we all know, Einstein said time is relative. So it'll be here after a sneeze.
Yeah.
Thomas, do you have any more news, or you want to dive into other things?
No more news, but it's interesting that you asked what we're about to do next. We're gonna pay some bills. We're gonna hit some sponsors. We're gonna play some stuff. I'm sorry, I'm being very generic. I'm sorry, everyone. We're gonna take a quick ad break. Just stay with us and endure my stupidity. Nippon is a samurai story set in the 16th century. This period was almost a turning point for Japan, as the empire now lost its former power and the shoguns. The Japanese representative of feudalism began to replace it. Nippon is by Alper Geksel, and it is available on Kickstarter now. From creator Frank Forte of Heavy Metal Magazine, Insidious: The Last Key, and The Conjuring 3 comes The Vampire Verses, Blood Rights Sketchbook / Art Book. It is a 32-page saddle-stitched comic with all the art from the creative process of Frank Forte. Vampire vs. Blood Rights. Available on Kickstarter now. And we're back. David, you're just breaking stuff.
What's up?
I said you're just breaking stuff. Now we come to the supreme topic of the day. Shocking, it's Marvel. Yay.
It is Marvel, and yay. So yeah, everyone, we're going to give some final thoughts a bit on WandaVision here. Obviously you haven't seen us, but it's been like a week, so we're not going to just sit here and review it. We're just going to share a few thoughts on it. Everyone in the comments, just let us know what you're thinking. But we're going to kind of just take this time, talk about the MCU. As I said in the opening, WandaVision's down, and there are currently 9 more MCU projects left to go this year, which is truly unbelievable. When you think about it, it's 6 Disney Plus projects and 4 films, which I still can't really fathom. But obviously, Falcon and Winter Soldier kicks off next Friday.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah, I cannot wait for that one. And obviously, the visual viewer right now that's watching live or watching later, sorry, audio listeners, you can't see our nice little graphic here showing all of Phase 4 of Marvel Studios and really beyond. We don't know if this is Phase 4 or this is beyond a phase. And I am currently in
this is a movement.
I believe the MCU is going to shift away from calling it phases just because it seems pointless now, especially because there is no Avengers movie to kind of cap off a phase, which is typically how it's gone so far. But honestly, the phases feels more of an Infinity Saga thing where they had those 3 phases. The Stones were part of them all. Avengers films were part of them all. Now we're moving into more stuff. Obviously, here's my first thought on anything about this. WandaVision has changed the game officially in the MCU. Like the way they can tell stories now, how unique WandaVision is and what they can do with Disney Plus now. It's crazy when you really think about it, because they could tell any story any way they want to now. They're opening up that possibility. I've said this before, like they don't always have to stick to, we're already seeing it. WandaVision's going to be 9 episodes, Falcon Winter Soldier 6, then a film. So it's like, 9-episode project, 6 episodes, then a 2-hour movie. Like we're getting such unique storytelling now, and I hope they get even weirder. Maybe like just a 2-part, like longer movie on Disney Plus or anything like that. Like maybe a show on theaters. I don't know. I would love to see WandaVision in theaters. So I think that's kind of me just talking where I would love to see any of these in theaters because
you just want to be in a theater. You don't care what's on the screen.
Oh, I do.
There'll be just little stick cartoons going, and you're just sitting there eating your popcorn.
Yeah. Let's start with this little thing. Based on what we're looking at here, after WandaVision, what are you guys most looking forward to? If you had to pick one project, obviously there's a lot, but if you had to pick one, near future, farther
Disney
future,
Plus and movies, or just Disney Plus?
Any MCU project, anything, any film or Disney.
Do that.
We could do one of each. We could do a Disney Plus project and a movie. Let's do it like that. Let's do one Disney Plus project that you can't wait for, and then one film that you can't wait for either. Whoever goes first.
I will go first. I'll give Josh some time.
Yeah.
Obviously, my number 1 is Thor: Love and Thunder. Can we talk about Jane Swallow really quick? Jane Foster, I should have got the picture ready for our visual audience.
Oh my God.
Natalie Portman put in the work.
She's got arms bigger than my legs.
I mean, it's insane. Like
yeah.
I mean, I was 8 when Star Wars: The Phantom Menace came out. So obviously Natalie Portman has been there 5 ever in my life. She ain't never been jacked.
Yeah.
But now I cannot wait to see her put the hammer down.
Yeah.
And also, we haven't even talked about Gore the God Butcher, nor have we talked about the Guardians. which whatever. There'll be.
There's gonna be a lot in that movie, man.
I mean,
it's gonna be crazy.
Yeah, they've said that's going to be like a Civil War, like Avengers 5 kind of deal, where it is this big crossover, a lot of different characters. I forget who said that. Might have been Feige, might have been just Hemsworth. But yeah,
okay. One of those people I trust.
Exactly. But I think, it's going to be a ginormous film. So yeah, that I definitely understand that. What would be your Disney Plus most anticipated MCU project right now? It's hard to choose from for the Disney Plus show.
Right now, I've got to go with what's a little bit in front of me. I'm really excited for Secret Invasion, but I don't know what that's going to be about. I'm very excited for She-Hulk because it sounds like it's going to be a legal sitcom. I love sitcom.
Yeah, that's gonna be cool.
Miss Marvel looks really fun, but really it's down. I mean, obviously, I'm a huge fan of What If. I'd pick What If just because it's going to be the weirdest, but really that's on its own. So that's like it's an animation and it's on its own in terms of story. So it's not there, but really it's down between Falcon Winter Soldier and Loki. And I'm super pumped to see what's been going on Earth. And we get to see two of my favorite characters in Falcon and Winter Soldier become the next phase of who they're going to be as heroes.
Right.
Yeah.
Like at the end of this, Captain America and the Winter Soldier might literally just be a movie title, and it's a buddy cop film, which I just sold myself on. I love action comedy buddy cop stuff, and I'm hoping that's what we get a little bit in this show, which I think we will. But then you've got, on the other hand, you've got my brother Loki, who never seems to stay dead. But it's a time hopping multiversal potentially thing, and it's supposed to somehow tie into Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness as well.
Maybe.
So it's like maybe,
and it's just Loki being Loki.
Yeah.
Well, Feige has said Loki will in some way tie in. So so it's like, I think I have to really go because I love a good old time hop, and I'm hoping we get King and Loki going Loki.
Yeah. I would say. Want to do mine? Okay, yes, so everyone knows my movie is Spider-Man. Just because, and that's almost boring. So I almost want to just do my second one because everyone knows mine is Spider-Man. I'm really looking forward to. I mean, it isn't my most anticipated, but shout out to Shang-Chi.
Okay.
Sorry, like
You're nailing mine.
I'm really amped for that movie. Like, I think it being in a different cultural setting, obviously geographical setting, and then just the I think the choreography in that film is going to be amazing with the kung fu aspects and martial arts. Like, I think that could be such a unique Marvel film. Like, I really, my expectations are really high for that one. And Eternals, I forget who was saying it recently. Yeah, like, I need to see a trailer or something because I'm not sold yet. Even though the cast is great, I just can't wrap my mind around what that movie's going to look like and how it's going to feel and what it's going to
When I saw an image that was maybe their outfits, and that did not help at all.
Yeah.
Like, I have no care of Eternals right now.
Yep.
They got to come out with something to get me excited.
I think they're holding off. And from what they've been saying is like, they can't believe what they ended up with is kind of the vibe that I've been seeing.
Yeah.
At this point, the more you hold off, the better. At the end of the day, a bad costume is not going to ruin the movie if it was a practical costume.
No.
Right.
Looking at you, Green Lantern. But and they don't look that great, but then again, they don't look terrible either, and they're totally different and unique, which is what I care about more than anything. It's unique.
Yeah.
And we're seeing promo art versus actual cloth, and that is always like, remember Captain America's promo art for the Avengers looked great, and then when he was in person, he looked super weird.
Yeah.
So
what
can we say? That just did not. That costume didn't do enough for his ass.
I understand what Josh is saying, though, because right now there is nothing. And the thing is, there is nothing because marketing for the MCU outside of Disney Plus is on shutdown still. Like, we haven't gotten anything for Black Widow, nothing for Shang-Chi.
Well, there's nothing more to show for Black Widow. They've shown everything.
That's
like, if they actually come out with a new trailer, I'll be amazed because
they will.
there
They
was
will.
4 or 5 different trailers before it got pushed back. I'm waiting for their thing to sell if Black Widow comes out when it's supposed to, is there will be either a teaser or trailer for Eternals, and you can only see it when you go to see Black Widow.
I mean, these days, would they really do that? That'd be amazing.
I think so, because we're in new times right now, trying to kickstart back, because there's still all 3 of us are kind of amped up to get back into the theaters. You know, me, I'm a little but not everybody's us. There is a good probably half the population that has no interest in going back into the theater anytime soon.
Right.
But there's hardcore Marvel fans that if you go, hey, if you come see it, you get a little bit of Eternals action. They'll come in.
Yeah.
Or you'll at least get more than originally you would think.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm not going to lie. Like I said, Shang-Chi, because I feel like I need to, that movie I think can be really special. But I'm more excited for Doctor Strange 2, these sequels, Thor 2, Black Panther 2. And then the big one to me is Fantastic Four, because I love the Fantastic Four and I want them to be done properly. So I just, I cannot wait to see them in the MCU and however they form that. But shifting to Disney Plus, I would say Falcon Winter Soldier has been my most anticipated since day one of these announcements. So I'm going to stick with that for now. Obviously, that's coming out, in a week. But I truly cannot wait. I am, like you said, Thomas, I cannot wait to see what's going on with the government on Earth after the snap. We got a little bit of it in Black Widow, WandaVision, but a lot of that was such a unique show with a lot of sitcom-y stuff, and we're mostly taking place inside that hex, and it's more about, Wanda's journey. Right. I think we need a lot more of the Accords and all this interesting stuff that I truly love about the MCU in this show. Loki's looks like a blast. Obviously, What If? That's to me, in my head, I almost want to count it as like one of the 9 things remaining, just because it's its own thing, as Thomas was saying. It's totally its own thing. Yeah. I hope in some way they can tie things together. I mean, it is like the Watcher, over it all. But anyway, what I really am not looking forward to, just to kind of zag, I Am Groot. Why are they making that? That's
kids, bro, kids.
Literally, but is that really going to make anyone's top 10 MCU project?
It'll be the kids. I mean, they gotta there's a new generation right now.
Totally.
We just talked about there's 13 years of movies.
Yeah.
So there's a few 13-year-olds or younger that didn't grow up with these movies. Totally. So if you throw in I Am Groot and you could hook a whole nother generation of kids to keep watching your movies another 10 years down the road.
Totally. No, I agree.
That's what you got to watch with some of this stuff too, is there's some people that, crapped on WandaVision a bit, at least in the beginning. Yeah. And now that it's ended, some people don't like how the last episode or 2 went.
Right.
But WandaVision, I felt, was for fans, for people that have watched this for the past 13 years. Yeah. It's not really for a person that's brand new to the MCU. There's a lot of backstory to everything. Yeah. So for somebody brand new to hop in and go, now it did hook some people, but it's not going to hook everybody. Even my boss at work, who's kind of watched some of the movies and stuff, but he didn't watch the big key ones that would build up to WandaVision. So he was lost as hell. Yeah. He didn't even finish it. And I'm like, seriously?
Yeah. Yeah, it's totally part of. I want to hear your answers, by the way, Josh, not off the hook.
Yeah.
There's something to that, right? Where now being this far deep into the MCU, it's that could help some of these newer projects, because a lot of people, I know, especially me, if it's hey, watch this, but you have to watch 1,000 episodes of whatever show to get to this great point. I don't want to do that. Obviously, the MCU is great, and you have to watch.
Crisis on Infinite Earths.
Yeah, exactly. CW. I didn't want to watch all the CW shows because I'm totally behind. But I watched Crisis just because I wanted to see it. I didn't know what all was going on, but it was still, there's very interesting aspects of that story. I think some of these new projects, like Shang-Chi, like Eternals, even Hawkeye, even though it's Jeremy Renner returning, I think that could be a really good show. Miss Marvel, She-Hulk, maybe these newer projects could lend the hand to someone who hasn't been fully caught up. And it is, it's connected, but it's not WandaVision, where it's literally a story of Wanda, who is fundamental to 4 previous movies, and this is more of like a shifting point in her entire story arc, not the beginning. It's the beginning of a new story arc, but it's still like you need to know what happened in the past to get here. I agree, Josh. Like especially episode 8 was amazing for longtime MCU fans. Like I thought that was such a joyride. I've told Thomas. Thomas knows I love flashbacks. I'm a sucker for flashbacks and anything. I think they're so much fun. I love seeing a new point of view on stuff, and that was just another one. That's why Endgame to me is always my number one, because I think of going back in time and going to those old events and seeing a different point of view. Like that was, I mean, you couldn't wipe the smile off my face in that theater. So Josh, sorry, finally, I know I kind of talked over Shang-Chi. That seemed to be yours, but what are maybe, another one or what else are you most looking forward to?
I'm drooling for the movies. I'm drooling for Spider-Man. That's just a given. I mean, I cannot wait. I'm very curious on what we're going to get from Spider-Man, because it really feels like you're going to get some of that multiverse play into Spider-Man from all the previous actors from the other movies that they have brought in. I mean, you're getting the director from one of the original Spider-Man movies. They just brought in the music guy from the same movie, I believe.
Raimi, in Doctor Strange,
Yeah, Doctor Strange. And you're getting tons of people for like all this. And let's see, what else? Who else did we get from Spider-Man? We got Jamie
Doc
Foxx
Ock's coming in.
Doc Ock, Jamie Foxx, and J. Jonah Jameson.
Yeah.
So I'm really curious on seeing what they're going to do with this. But like Spider-Man's just a given one. Out of like the newer style stuff, Shang-Chi is one that really catches my attention. I love martial arts, like I've said before. I feel like we don't have enough good martial arts movies, and to see a Marvel martial arts movie, and a lot of people are thinking there's going to be some kind of tournament aspect to it. So there could be some cool characters that are all of a sudden thrown into Marvel that we haven't seen, heard of, or anything. We may get a throwback of somebody. There's a lot of cool open opportunity into Shang-Chi, and apparently it's my show now. But I am super into what they're going to do with that, and I'm hoping it's like, I hope they let them play a little rougher. Like, I know we're not going to get like a Mortal Kombat style fight, but I'm hoping it's a little bit up there in the fight scenes. And another movie that's, I'm like, okay, I'm ready, is Blade. I want to see they add Blade into this, because Blade goes more into that mystical route, like with witches and a little bit of the Sorcerer Supreme stuff. But it's very dark, and it's a very dark movie, or it's a very dark comic. So how, all this other stuff that we've really been doing is a little bit more pretty. And not as dark. So Blade will be very interesting. And then when it comes to Disney Plus shows, I'm actually interested in all of them. I mean, I especially with how WandaVision, after going through WandaVision and seeing how it's changed and added to the history of what we have watched over the past 13 years. I can't wait to see. Loki's a top one. And let's see what else we got. Moon Knight looks really cool, because I don't know Moon Knight very well, but I do videos and like kind of breakdowns of him. So my wife's actually really interested in him, because he's like schizophrenic or whatever, or has multiple personalities, and that's kind of her like interest. So that might be another one that we watch together. And then Ironheart, because I want to see where they go with a new Iron Man or an Iron Woman, whoever, whatever they go with. That's one of those ones that just right now it's kind of far away. So there's so many possibilities that they can do with it. And to have because I mean, you get Iron Man as a 3 movies, and they took a while to come in between. And even in the movies, you still only get so many details from him. The TV shows, you're getting more time with a character and more build up and more little tidbits here and there. So to create an Ironheart character in that arc would be fantastic. Yeah.
And continuation of Tony Stark's legacy will also be in Armor Wars, which I'm really excited for, actually. Like that, when I was first announced, I'm like, okay. Then I read into it and like what Armor Wars really is. I'm like, ooh, this could be really cool. And a cool continuation of Iron Man 2 in a really interesting way of like, how, armor in the government, all this certain aspects of it, and like privatizing it. And obviously, it's also a continuation of Civil War and everything with the government and that.
Well, and hopefully we'll see some more of the 10 Rings too between Shang-Chi and Iron Wars, and whatever. Hopefully they'll pop in some more because I feel like we kind of left them in the dust, and there's some more unfinished business in that realm.
Well, that's definitely. I mean, it's Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, so it's coming. That is going to be the Shang-Chi part. That I'm super excited for too, because I think, like you said, they left them in the dust. They kind of didn't do them as much justice as maybe they had in the comics, and bringing them back up in this way, I think is really interesting. And I like the idea of bringing back Phase 1, like loose threads, into this new phase and seeing what's been going on, and maybe like continuing on that story in some way.
And, Phase 2, really, because we are going to get to see the real Mandarin.
Yeah, exactly, which is awesome.
Who knows? Maybe we'll get a little bit more of Trevor Slattery. Yeah.
Right.
You'll never see me coming.
Still a great trailer.
It's all made up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one was still a little bit. That was a little bummer for me. That was probably one of the out of like the 13 years of doing this. Iron Man 2, or was that 2 or 3?
3.
Yeah, Iron Man 3, when they like he's not really him. I'm like, how can you make him so awesome? And then he wasn't him, because like he played that character so freaking well. Yeah. And then it's like, yeah, not really him. It's like, okay, you better have a really good actor lined up, because he's got to step it up.
Yeah. Yeah. I've heard he's going to be really good, but let's take a step back now. Let's go back to WandaVision. We just talked about what we're excited for. Let's go back. Let's kind of finish. Let's wrap a bow on our LightsThunderAction discussion on WandaVision. And I don't know how I want to do this, Thomas, but I kind of just thought I could read through my list of the finale moments that I'm excited about. And maybe after that, we just go from there.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, so I'm just going to read off mine, and then you guys can either agree, add your own. Here's my top 5 moments, in my opinion, from the WandaVision finale, in no particular order. The first one was Wanda using the runes, which was the trick that Agatha brought up in episode 8, and she used them on Agatha. Obviously, we're in complete spoiler mode for WandaVision.
Warning.
Oh, yes, I'm so sorry. We are. I should have been more ready.
Yes, we're in spoiler alert vision. Anyway, the runes the runes part I thought was super. It was a great callback and just an awesome moment to see Wanda's power, a good twist, something I always loved, a part of a rare action scene in WandaVision, and it was just great. Second, which I thought was just a really eye-opening and kind of mind-blowing scene in a way, was the ship of Theseus scene between the two visions. Just seeing that dialogue between those two, that was it might be my favorite moment from that episode. Just seeing them have that dialogue back and forth, and Vision being like, oh, well, what really is the true ship? And basically opening White Vision's brain to, wait, who am I? What am I? And what am I supposed to be doing here? Like, where did I come from? Which is just so clever.
Just another Thursday thought.
Yeah, right. So clever and a great continuation. In my opinion, I'm not sure how I feel about a White Vision now wandering around. We'll get to that in a little bit, but it's the way they did it was very clever. My next one, which is arguably my favorite part of the entire series, is the suit. The new WandaVision costume, I think, looked amazing. I mean, it wasn't super flashy, but it was flashy enough where she looks powerful and sleek, and she has a very subtle but prominent, I don't know how that makes sense, crown.
It's not crazy like her comic.
It's not.
It's realistic looking.
It's not overblowing. They don't. It's a modest suit as well, which unlike the comics, I think that was a big part of Elizabeth Olsen. She kind of wanted that, and I think that's strong. I think that really it looks amazing, and I can't wait to see that more in action in Multiverse of Madness and beyond, hopefully, because I think it's just such a great look. I think it's her best look yet. And she's had some good looks. I've liked her old, that red leather jacket look and stuff like that. But this is truly the Scarlet Witch now, and I think her outfit looks amazing. My fourth moment from the finale was Wanda now in that suit using astral projection. At the very end, last thing you see in WandaVision, the post credit scene of her studying the Darkhold, doing astral projection, and after, like I said earlier in the show, rewatching Doctor Strange, now it's like, oh my gosh, this is just it ties in so well.
I got to interrupt real quick because I've had a few conversations with different people over the last week or so, because I've been a couple of different things, so I can talk to people about this. And some people don't fully realize what that ending means because they're like, oh, she's just doing what Doctor Strange does. It's like, yeah, but it's subtly proving how much stronger she already is than the Sorcerer Supreme. Yeah, because when Doctor Strange does it, he's asleep.
Right.
He does it when he's sleeping, so he's only controlling his outside of the body
projection.
When she does it, she is fully conscious and doing shit like walking, pouring tea, and then that other projection is also doing stuff.
That's a good point.
That was like a real just subtle she's a few levels up. We still don't even know, and she's still, I think, learning, hence reading the book and everything. But it even took me a minute to kind of realize, oh, she's doing both, and that means a hell of a lot more than what everybody thought, I think.
Yeah, no, I agree. That's a really good point. Because I hadn't thought of that either. And then my last one was just, obviously, she said goodbye to the kids, but as we've learned, I didn't care much about the kids. The goodbye to Vision at the very, very end, right? Saying hopefully we'll see each other again, and her explaining for first and foremost that he was part of the Mind Stone that lives within her, and just, tear jerking, and a great way to end the series for what it was, right? It was a character-driven story about Wanda's grief, and this was her finally accepting and letting go, and it was just a beautiful ending. It looked gorgeous too. Even the CGI I thought looked really well done. Thomas, did you have any more comments on the ones I just laid out for the just finale moments?
Just for the finale moments, I had Ship of Theseus as well. What a great scene. The idea that it's just we're in this giant big fight, and all of a sudden we're just going to stop and be like,
you are familiar with the thought experiment, the Ship of Theseus, in the field of identity metaphysics? Naturally.
And it's just okay, 100%. This totally makes sense that Visions would just battle wits really quick and be like,
Truly. Yeah,
there's an error in this thought.
Right.
And it's just beautiful how it's done, and it shows the depth of each version of the Vision and what their base mentality is to understand the self, which is what makes them the most human, because that's what we're all trying to do. Obviously the costume, the Scarlet Witch, the tiara with Magneto's helmet in there. That's right. I said it. I'm going to keep saying it. I'm going to keep pointing that out. The fact that she has the Mind Stone right there on her heart as well. Yeah. Those little subtle nods I love. I also had Vision's goodbye because, let's be honest, that's gonna, that closing, his what he said to her at the end there, we've said goodbye before, so it stands to reason that we'll say hello again. That's just perfect. I have two differences though. Really, Agnes is set up. She's not gone forever. She's still there. It's important to note that a lot of Jacques Schaefer, she's talked a lot about Agnes was set up to be a friend and a confidant and this and that, and it's and Wanda knows exactly where she's at, and I have a feeling she will eventually go to her, which will be great because that means we get more Catherine Hahn. I now hope Catherine Hahn is going to be in Doctor Strange too. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, me too.
But probably because it wasn't listed by you, and I'm very surprised by this.
Yeah,
it's probably going to be my favorite. Monica's powers being used, and the way that she was set up for the future at the same time. Just all things Monica. I love Monica.
Yeah, I agree. I thought she was underplayed. I think why I put it there because I thought she wasn't in it enough. I'm like that's all we're getting, and it was cool, right? I thought it was great, but it's like, and obviously it's set up for a much brighter future. One may say, and I can't wait for that. But I think I didn't leave that off because it didn't stick out to me and hit me home as much as some of the other pieces did. I think because she was such a tertiary character in this episode. Very minor role.
But that's exactly it. Like, it's a minor role, but it's a secret origin for a reason. Like, it's there. Yeah. Like, we just watched her official origin story. Like, that's the first time she chose to use her powers, whether she knows she did or not. She did. And so there's that great, like, hey, I like your tricks. Yours too. They're pretty cool. And it's like, nice, man. And that, David, is why I think I'm gonna put a pin in this in a minute. Sure. I think that scene with those kids and with the way Monica interacted with the kids is very important to her future after she goes up there and meets the big guy upstairs, who I'm assuming is going to be Fury and not Talos.
That's what I assume too. Yes.
So, yes.
Yeah, so let's move in now. Another top 5 list and a little broader, right? We're going to finish off today with something, moving into the future. Let's talk about WandaVision. Our top 5 moments from the entire season. It's not just the finale. Obviously, the finale I thought was, pretty good. It wasn't the best episode of the season by any means, in my opinion, but I think that it was a good. They landed the plane, and it was good. It's set up. I think it was great setup for the future. Here are my top 5 moments from the season as a whole, and there's a lot. I mean, I had to kind of rack my brain a bit, and I'm sure we could vary a lot for these ones. So I'm going to just go through mine, and then I'll see what you had, Thomas, and Josh, or what your thoughts are. My first one, and this is kind of obviously this episode 2, right? It's the no, right? Isn't that episode 2? Or is that episode 3?
It's
where
2.
She says no to the beekeeper?
It's 2. It's
2.
The last black and white, yeah.
Yes, you're right. Episode 2, and she says no to the beekeeper, and things rewind. It's crazy to think all of our minds were blown after that in the moment. We're all like, oh my gosh, she's in control, because that's when we had no idea what was happening. But that really set the stage for this crazy ride we were going to go under with WandaVision. Obviously, some of the theories that were set up disappointed fans and things like that, and not everything lived up to like the crazy hype that fans set it up to be. But I do think that no moment was just so great, and seeing that one of the first little cracks that showed Wanda being in control too, which we at that point we had no idea. We were still so confused as to what was happening, but we knew something was off. The next one, which, oh my gosh, I could rewatch this all day, was the blip scene from Monica's perspective. Her coming back from being snapped away in the hospital. What a great place to show the blip happening in a hospital. The frantic, just crazy atmosphere, the fear, and just like phones ringing off the line. It was just such a great scene. Like I've said over and over, I love seeing like basically flashbacks in a way from a new perspective, seeing something we know in a different point of view. Like that was just amazing to me. So I loved that. The next one I had, which is also one of my favorite scenes, of course, is in I believe it's episode 5 now. Wanda comes out of the hex with the drone, tosses it out.
Oh yeah,
like, stay out, blah blah blah. She's looking like Scarlet Witch. And she makes and the pivotal part of this scene is that when she turns and goes, and she makes all of the soldiers point their laser guns at Hayward, who turned out to be just not a generic, not good guy. But I thought that scene was just so great, especially at that point in the series when you finally see her come out. And she's like, stay out, blah, blah, blah. And her, her being in complete control, being able to overpower everyone in front of her, no fear, just boom, so badass.
When her accent came back too. I love that little touch.
Yep, it was her back in the real world. And it was the first time seeing it in this show. So that was just amazing to me. I think I ranked that. We had to do something for the direct, like ranking each episode. I think I ranked. No, I had number 6 higher. I think. I think 6 my favorite episode of this season. Yeah, it would be the Halloween episode. I love that.
Okay, that's fair.
I like Malcolm in the Middle. So anyway, and we got Pietro the most in that. I love that Evan Peters inclusion. My next one, which was just absolutely heartbreaking. And to Josh's point earlier, for people that have seen the MCU, like this was a show for people, for fans the I can't feel you moment where she's over kind of like the dismembered pieces of the Vision. She puts her hand over his head, and it's a callback to like, it's called like the Age of Ultron. I mean, it's called back to Infinity War, of course, with the back and forth before he first dies and the like, I only feel you and stuff. But if you think about it, if you go back to Age of Ultron, right when he gets like, when he's still in the little cocoon that Ultron's messing with, Wanda's like, I can read him, you know? And to me, it's a throwback all the way to that. From the very first moment she was in the same room as Vision, she could read him. She could feel him. That just broke me. That was so, I mean, I want to talk about great writing. That was incredible. And, you know, not everyone would get that if you're not a huge Marvel fan or really care, or rewatch Age of Ultron relatively recently like me and Thomas did. And the final one, this is the most blatant, but obviously the birth of Scarlet Witch, the end of episode 8, where it's like, and you're the Scarlet Witch. And it being
Would you like the sound clip?
I love the sound clip, sure.
All right, here we go.
Where is it at, Thomas?
You're
Give it to me.
supposed to be a myth, a being capable of spontaneous creation. This is chaos magic, Wanda. But that makes you the Scarlet Witch.
It's amazing, right? And like that line and just setting her up in this special way where she is special, not just from the Mind Stone, but there's something to her. She's like, maybe a mutant or whatever. We may not be, but that still is not answered. But I think they're playing it as this one of one Scarlet Witch, like, because that's how Agatha was talking to her, right? It's like, you shouldn't have powers. I want them. I want to absorb them because you're the Scarlet Witch. And it's almost like this prophecy type thing, the chosen one. Harry Potter, Anakin Skywalker, whatever. Like her being this chosen one being. And I love that. Just this character being more unique than just the Mind Stone. I love. And her and seeing what that could mean for the future. Like we've been bringing up, her being stronger than the Sorcerer Supreme and what that could mean. And so all right, guys, did you guys have any differences, any thoughts on mine? Josh, do you have any thoughts on just WandaVision moments overall? Anything I said?
I liked it. Anything that kind of added more to the back history of the MCU. You know, you got the, like you talked about, the I couldn't feel you thing. So that kind of, you realized how much of a connection they had. Changing up, I really enjoyed because they kind of showed, and I think this will change things in the future too, when they go back to her family and the family getting bombed and the Stark bomb sitting there. It wasn't defected like they said in Age of Ultron 2. She uses a proximity magic, or she uses her powers. She doesn't even know, she uses her powers to hold that bomb off because it's a Stark Industries tech. Stark tech very rarely fails. So if you really think about it, we should have all been going, well, how does a Stark bomb fail?
Right.
She held it off. So that really puts in perspective that she was special to begin with. And then this is if you watch a lot of deep stuff and things like that. They're saying that Sokovia was a hotspot of people that were inclined to be able to become more. And it's almost like they're introducing the X gene or something like that. There's this Wakanda Files book that has this information in it. And Hydra picked that spot specifically. Right. And this feeds into that even more and through an actual movie. You know, the book is canon and everything, but this is actual, you know, footage showing that there was already special people in there. So this could mean a lot of things down the future because it wasn't just the Mind Stone for Wanda. She already had some specialness to her. So yeah, that'll be really cool. At first I did not like the fight scene between Wanda and Agatha. Agatha and Wanda, because it felt like we went back a little bit to just like the big blow up fight scenes of most MCU stuff, which some are good, others get a little repetitive. So at first I'm like, okay, yay. And I was liking the Vision thing. I just couldn't understand what he was saying the whole time because it was just a little too much for me. But I like that they were just talking and I'm like, okay, that's cool. But like they were just straight up throwing like CGI power things. And then when she revealed at the end that she was playing her and had all the symbols in it, I'm like, okay, that makes sense now. So at first I was kind of like, seriously, this is the way we're gonna end this,
Right.
Okay,
but
yeah.
then she learned, and she's already
Mhm.
she's like in that we had 40 minutes or so in that 40-minute episode. She went from regular Wanda to Scarlet Witch to she's already looking like she can go toe to toe with the Sorcerer Supreme.
Right.
So I'm trying to think what else I liked.
Maybe
Go ahead,
talk
I may think of another one or so.
Yeah, so I've got my top 5 list. I'm gonna start off with the obvious one.
What is grief if not love?
Good point.
Yeah, that's for those that didn't hear it again.
But what is grief if not love? Persevering.
That scene on grief, like the whole scene, really.
Yeah.
But that's like the button at the end that people really grasped onto. But like listening to Wanda and how she describes grief, it's so real. And it's like, like instantly. I mean, if halfway through episode 8, you hadn't realized that this was a story about grief, then guess what? It's about grief. This was by the way, here's the real villain of this show.
Right.
It's just done so well. The performance from both Bettany and Olsen are just beautiful and glorious.
Mhm.
And this episode's gonna come back up in a bit, But my next one is just one that I have personal love for. Just absolutely love to yell.
Yeah.
At every point in the day, because then I'm just like, hey everyone, look, it's I love Flourish. I do it all the time at work. I do it all the time. That's a personal favorite of mine.
I remember after that episode, you just being like losing it over that.
It is the best GIF to send anytime. Someone will just be like, "Oh, I'm really surprised by this," and he's just Flourish.
I got one today from Thomas.
Yeah. So yes. My next one is just every intro and theme song, like between Agatha All Along or WandaVision, WandaVision, the Office playoff with the Modern Family and visuals. Like I love the way they blended those. And as a big fan of sitcoms, man, growing up and watching a lot of these sitcoms that they were based on, especially up until the 90s. I didn't watch Malcolm in the Middle, but I did watch Modern Family. So I was like, I get this GIF.
Yeah.
That all of that was just glorious. And of course, Agatha All Along was.
Can I add one part to that one?
Yes,
when it comes to the Modern Family stuff, I loved when Vision's sitting there talking to the camera, and then all of a sudden it dawns on him that he's just sitting there talking to the camera. He's like, what am I doing? Why are we even doing this? And it takes everything off and goes away.
And then my favorite part of that is it cuts, and it's like that whole scene was happening inside his mind, because then he just floats up and leaves the truck, and it's like, oh, that's brilliant. If like that's how it all works out, they're in their own head doing that interview. My number 2, I guess, if we're going to be in a ranking system, would be Wanda versus Monica. After Monica has that awesome scene of getting through the CMBR, all the waves, and the fact that she had to film that like 30 times or something.
Right.
Brilliant piece of acting. What a set piece, a visual. And she gets her powers. We get to see it. But then Wanda is like, yeah, I want you to leave, and just hits her. And she absorbs it and lands and utilizes it in superhero landing, which, by the way, as soon as she comes out of the thing, she lands on a knee in superhero landing. I was like, she's got powers now.
Yep.
I didn't even need to see the eyes. I just saw how she landed, and I was like, yeah, that's it. But I love that, because then she just stands up. She's like, yeah, what of it? And it's like, oh, okay, Captain Trouble over here about to be like, you don't want to throw hands, Wanda.
Yeah.
But my number 1, and we're coming back to the flashback episode of episode 8, is actually just the fact that Wanda was a fan of sitting down with her family and watching American sitcoms.
Yeah.
That scene is what I think is the multi-generational resonance across what this show really means. A lot of older folks came in because it was, well, they're making a play off of I Love Lucy and this trip to television.
Right.
And they came in because they're like, well, I'm going to be reminded of all these shows that I've seen at some point in time.
Yeah.
And their kids are watching it for a different reason. Their grandkids are watching it for a different reason, but they can all talk about it, and then they can share information across, you know, like, oh, well, this is what this show's from. And maybe we'll have more people trying to watch I Love Lucy and Dick Van Dyke Show and all these awesome shows that I watched a lot growing up on.
Yeah.
And then it's ironic that the one decade that I was like that I was genuinely alive for and should have watched was the 90s.
Right.
Yeah.
But they picked the one show that I didn't watch in the 90s. So
well. And what's funny is Malcolm in the Middle started in like 2000. So they kind of skipped the 90s.
I think it was like late 90s, right?
No, it
like
started
right
in
there.
2000.
Get into the 80s.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I looked because I
Yeah.
remember people were discussing it because like, wait, did they skip the 90s? Because Malcolm in the Middle technically is a 2000s sitcom, which I kind of remembered because when I was growing up, I watched like, to me, older like sitcoms, which like Full House, Family Matters, like 90s sitcoms, Cosby Show, like, you know, those are the sitcoms I grew up on. Malcolm in the Middle was
right on the 2000. Malcolm in the Middle came out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's kind of funny. They didn't play with these hard and fast rules with like the decades, which I liked. You know, they just did genres, they did eras, they did complete rip-off spoofs, which was just fantastic. The Modern Family, Malcolm in the Middle, that's what it was my favorite. I loved Malcolm in the Middle growing up. It was such a funny show to me. And like talking to the camera and stuff like that. Like them
cool vibes.
I really enjoyed that episode, the Spooktacular one, especially because we had Pietro. Like, it was such a great episode, in my opinion.
And it reminded me of the old throwback ones that are like the Halloween specials.
Yes.
You know, I always loved those ones. So it was cool. Like, it wasn't like the 90s ones that I was thinking about, but it was still, because I never got into Malcolm in the Middle, but it still had that same kind of feel where it was just like the Halloween stuff all over. And it was cool too, because we got it in the middle of March, or like middle of February, March. Like and it felt like it. Like, you're totally like, yeah, it's Halloween time.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Wanda was in our head too, man. Yeah. You know what's really awesome about that episode, by the way? That damn theme song, dude.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. All the themes.
Don't try to fight the chaos,
dude. Yeah.
Middle's
great.
Don't feel bad for what you've done.
Somebody in the comics brings up all the stuff that Darcy did, and I've seen a lot of stuff. People wanting Darcy and Jimmy Woo to have their own spin-off show together, like a crazy Marvel Universe X-Files thing, and I would totally be down for that.
Yep. Yeah. That is 100%. Yeah. Right there.
Thomas, do you have any more? Or were you?
No, that was my last one. Was just sitting down with my family and watching sitcoms growing up. Like, that's what we did. That's literally what we did. And that's the scene that's the same thing that's what got me into acting. That's what got me into storytelling. That's what got Kevin Smith into storytelling in the same way. Like, that inspired, those moments inspired people across time and memoriam to get involved in the arts in some way, to be a critic like yourself, to talk about it like we do on our podcast, like Josh does on his. But it also inspired Wanda to live a sitcom and
take over a small Jersey town.
And at the end of the day, you know,
by the end of the episode, you realize it was all a bad dream.
Damn.
If it was real.
And that, as soon as that line was said, I knew. I was like, oh, well, this will not be the most happy of endings.
It wasn't as non-happy as I thought it was going to be.
I agree.
I wanted to say the same thing. I was like, you know, it ended like, at least it was I've accepted my grief, and now I'm moving forward, and I'm letting these people go. Yes.
I really thought
that was very powerful to have that choice. But then the instant that the memory, or maybe the calling of her children from another reality, was an instant change of, oh, no, that is real. So it's going to be, now my grief of losing my kids has taken me over.
Yeah.
Right. And they weren't even real.
Yeah.
And well, and that's what a couple of people are like, they weren't even real. In that little things she created, they were real. They were 100% real. When they got out of there, they weren't real anymore, but they were in a sense.
In a way, yeah.
Yeah.
Thomas, for this next part, so basically, guys, we're gonna kind of finish out.
Let's finish out, but let me just use this as a hard segue.
Sure.
What if she, because you cannot create nor destroy any kind of actual matter, Vision was made of the Mind Stone within her. What are the kids made of? Hard to say. What if? Well, let's just say that's exactly what it is, and what she's told us was the truth. If the boys were created of matter from another reality, then they would have to obviously go back to that reality, would they not?
Right. Yes.
Well, so now, what if Multiverse of Madness is, and this is setting up Wanda, and where's Wanda going? Is she actually searching the multiverse, trying to find her kids now?
Yes.
And what is she doing along the way? Is she trying to stop someone from hurting her kids, or is she trying to get her kids at all costs? Like, it's interesting to see where Scarlet Witch / Wanda is going to lie. Is she a friend? Is she a foe? And I'm like, I'm waffling. Do I want her to be a good guy? Do I want her to be a bad guy here?
I think over the next phase of movies and shows, you're going to see her, because we got a little bit of while. So Doctor Strange too. So I think you're going to get either little blips, little events, little things over the next Falcon Winter Soldier, and everything that comes out, maybe not Eternals, but everything that comes out in the next little while. We may even get like little, like not behind the scenes, but extra credit things of her messing stuff up, trying to find her children. And she's going to start because I thought at the end of WandaVision, she was going to break reality, and we were going to have a next chunk of stuff where like all reality was broken. And then by the time Doctor Strange rolled around, it was the kind of the cleanup and the fixing it. But I think it's going to be slower now, and it's going to be the slow build. You saw her already kind of going a little dark. She lost her kids, so she may be okay with Vision, but she's lost her kids now, and she's a mom. Moms are psycho when they lose their kids. So she's going to be messing stuff up, and you're going to see little hints here and there and little stuff broken. And maybe even like we get into Shang-Chi, because I think Shang-Chi is going to come out before Doctor Strange.
Yeah, it comes out.
Maybe you'll get a character in the tournament that's not even from our reality. It's a multiverse character, and you're kind of going, that person should not be here. And you'll start slow, and that's going to be the watch for the next few things is what she's doing in the background.
Yeah, those are good points. So Thomas, you want to go down, so to end out today's show, kind of just to round out WandaVision even more and finish out today's show, we're going to discuss what we think could be happening with each of these characters in the future of the MCU from WandaVision. The characters being Monica, Wanda, White Vision, Wu, and Darcy. What could be in their future? What do we think they're heading to in the future of the MCU? Because obviously it's all connected. We've seen these characters before. We'll see them again. Thomas, what do you think? Where do you think Monica is going from here? She was the most blatantly set up, I would say, behind Wanda, but almost even more. If we didn't know Wanda was going to be in Doctor Strange, like, it's kind of clear what's going on with her. Sorry.
Yeah, no. So I have one idea of what I genuinely think Monica will be. And like I said, we keep a pin in what she was going to do, or, keeping a pin in that scene where she's with the boys. But before we get there, I have this quote from Jacques Schaefer. She said, "What I will say is that the people who are involved in making Captain Marvel 2 are terrific storytellers, and Tiana is an incredible guardian for this character. So I have absolute faith that there will be a lot of unpacking of feelings in Captain Marvel 2, and I look forward to it." So, we have that. What's up with Captain Marvel and with Monica? Where's the beef? What's the beef, Monica?
Yeah,
there's a lot of beef.
There's all the beef. So, just asking that. But I think, because let's just say Monica's going to go meet Nick Fury. That's what I'm assuming. It's not going to be Talos, not another Skrull. It's all Nick Fury.
Yeah.
He now needs eyes and ears everywhere. He just got back from a blip. She just got back from a blip.
Yeah.
But she's already hands-on the ground. and now she's developing powers. Well, you've already you've entered a greater universe. You just don't know it yet, Monica, kind of thing.
Right.
So I think that without a Coulson and with all of these new heroes about to pop up, we need somebody that we know to go out there and connect some of these people. We need recruits. I think Monica Rambeau is going to be the recruiter of new superpowered individuals, trying to get them to join and maybe sign the accords or whatever it may be that we need to do legally with S.W.O.R.D. But I think she's going to be the recruiter of Miss Marvel, potentially the recruiter of other young folks, so that, I mean, like, just think about how she and Peter Parker would interact. I think that would be pretty awesome. just saying, like, I think they'd vibe with each other very well. I think that's what Monica is going to end up being. I think a hard prediction. She recruits Kamala Khan to join forces and do whatever it is that they got to do.
Yeah, I think it's a great theory. I think Monica's future is in Captain Marvel 2, obviously. It is that true continuation of Lieutenant Trouble. I was surprised how much this show became a segue from Captain Marvel 1 to the sequel. This is pivotal for Monica's story and even beyond that. So I am very excited to see her in this. To me, specifically, I think we're definitely getting some emotional unpacking with her and Carol. I can't wait for that. And I truly,
or just a straight up fight.
I love that too. I love Teyana Paris in the role. I think that, this character is just, it surpassed what I think of Carol Danvers at this point. Like, I really enjoy her character. She has really good, background, motivation. She's really got a good character to her. So she's obviously she was a little girl in the first one, but this new adult version, Photon Spectrum, whatever, like, she is such a welcome addition. And I just can't wait. So, Josh, what do you think about Monica and her next step in the MCU?
I don't know if I really like the almost creating a Young Avengers idea. But I think she's going to be more. I think there's something more with the Skrulls, and because that's kind of what they dealt with a little bit in the first Captain Marvel movie. So I think you're going to get you may not see her for a minute or see her pop in here and there. And then once we get into Secret Invasion, I think that's where she's going to pop up big again. She may be just more of a Disney Plus character. Maybe you don't see her in a ton of the movies, but maybe she's like that Disney Plus character that pops into almost everything or is in the background or something like that. And she's building up for Secret Invasion, and then she may be one of the big people that deal with that with Nick Fury.
Yeah.
I can't remember if Secret Invasion is supposed to be a while back, current time. I can't remember if they gave any synopsis for it, but that's my call.
It seems like it will be like up to date.
That'd be good.
And it'll be featuring prominently Fury and Talos as like the two main characters.
Gotcha.
So yeah, I think her popping up in that is a really good prediction because I hadn't really thought about that. And Secret Invasion, their synopsis of it didn't really thrill me. But I still am really looking forward to it. But Monica being in it is a really good point. I would really like to see that. Thomas, what do you think about Wanda's future? We've talked about that probably the most so far, but anything else on Wanda and what her future in the MCU is going to look like?
I really just no. I don't.
Yeah,
I mean, we just segued into it, just talking about Wanda.
We did.
Yeah.
We kind of.
I did it by accident. I'm sorry.
No, perfect. Please.
Yeah.
I totally. Yeah, she's the Scarlet Witch now. Doctor Strange. Can't wait for her powers to grow even further. See how she interacts with Steven and that relationship. That's what I'm most curious about. What is that relationship? Is it friendly?
Yeah.
Is there conflict there? That line of her being more powerful than the Sorcerer Supreme, that meant something to the future of the MCU.
Oh, yeah.
And like, it may not be as up in our face as immediately as maybe we want it to be, but I think it'll come around, right? It'll come around. So, did you have anything else more on Wanda, Josh, or pretty much got everything out of the way?
Yeah, mostly it's just, and I think it's for the whole show period, is because there's a lot of people that are mad that certain things didn't happen. Fan theories went insane. Even I did.
Mhm.
And I wasn't completely thrilled with the final. It just felt like I felt like it should have been a bit bigger an event,
Mhm.
especially for the first Disney Plus show. It just like to make it seem like it because I keep worrying it's going to be like Netflix series and like
Right.
not as part. But I think in the next few movies in the next year or two, we're going to feel the effects of what all went down in this show throughout the rest of the movies. And so by the time 2 years roll past, we're like, oh my God, WandaVision just like we didn't even know where we were getting into.
Right.
So I think that's what Wanda's going to be the big part is she's just going to be going around messing up everything.
Yeah, no, that's good. All right, Thomas, moving on. What about White Vision? Obviously, after that whole conversation with the ship of Theseus, he just kind of shoots up, right? He bursts out of the building to never be seen again.
He's going to look for the ship. That's what he's going to do.
Right. Obviously, he now has the memories of Vision, but this is a new Vision, right? He doesn't have the Mind Stone. He has the memories of him, but it's almost like looking at someone else's life, it seems like, is the way they're going. So what do you think the future of White Vision could be, this new Vision out in the MCU?
So at the end of WandaVision, White Vision is just busy pondering life. Honestly, same. No, but like really he's in the comics, what I like is White Vision is actually a little bit psychopathic for a bit because they removed the brainwaves of somebody. I'm just saying somebody from Vision's body when they do this reincarnation as a government thing. Really, very well done in terms of how it correlated to WandaVision.
Right.
So this guy, as we saw, was emotionless. I will kill you. I thought you were stronger. You are weak. Beep boop bop boop. I'm a Cylon. But but I think they really set him up beautifully to now be a hero on that same level with those same powers, designed to help and save people and save lives and protect innocence and all of that. But it now has the experiences of a previous life included with that, all the emotional baggage that it would come with. You know, okay, I've died again. Will he have any of these emotions? Will this give him emotion? Or will he still be an emotionless robot? These are good questions. Does anyone have the answer? Feige.
Feige has all the answers, and he won't tell us.
Yeah, no, he will eventually. But for my answer for this one is, I'm curious. My biggest question, which is my answer, is when is he going to pop up next? I don't have much of a prediction. Maybe Doctor Strange, because it's like it has to be a connection with Wanda, you would think, but maybe not. It could be somewhere else. Sometimes the MCU can be really unpredictable, even when we think it's going to be obvious. So honestly, I think it'd be really interesting if he doesn't pop up next with Wanda, and it's a different whole thing where it's like, what is this Vision doing? Like, I don't know, like what is he going to be up to? It's really interesting where we're going to see him next. 'Cause I really have no idea where. I guess the odds-on favorite would be Doctor Strange, just because of the WandaVision connection and Wanda, obviously. So that would be the favorite. But I almost wish he'd pop up not with Wanda, somewhere different, affecting something else, because this is obviously a new incarnation. I think we've kind of got, honestly, that's the problem with this, in my opinion, is the end of WandaVision is really like wrapping up her and Vision's relationship, and that it comes full circle and she has to let go. And it's like, I don't want her to fall in love with this White Vision now. You know what I mean? I don't think she will. I think he'll have a new sort of role in this. And I'm happy Paul Bettany's staying on board because I think he's just fantastic. I mean, the acting of him and Olsen in this series is just top notch, top notch, unbelievable if you think about it. So I'm excited he's staying on, but where he pops up next, I think it's a very interesting question. Josh, you have any thoughts on White Vision and his future in the MCU?
I think he'll be another one where you are going to have to watch closely for behind the scene things, little news articles that pop up in different shows or behind the scenes stuff that you'll kind of see him pop up here and there, like a mysterious white figure saved a bus full of kids or some stuff. You know, I think he's going to be trying to figure out who he is during this time. And I think he'll try to save people here and there. Maybe he'll fail a couple of times and that'll pop up some stuff. And then I think he'll come back in some capacity in Doctor Strange. And I guess there's something in the comics where he does like they merge two visions together or something like that. And then the new vision comes out and so maybe that's how you'll get the ending, and maybe Wanda and a lot of stuff will get broken and messed up in the time, but maybe Wanda and Vision will get there happily ever after, and sometime down the road.
Right.
That's nice. That was an optimistic.
You got to have it once in a while. I don't have it about my life, but fake fictional things. Yeah, totally.
But these characters I love, yes. Let's not them all.
Let's wrap this up here. I'm gonna put these together because to me, my answer is them together. Wu and Darcy. We talked about it before. The possibility of an X-Files like TV show. I know they might even be pitching that to Marvel now. I saw some tweets about that. It sounds great. I mean, I would be very interested to see Darcy. I know she said she wasn't getting the call for Thor 4. That was a story that came out a couple weeks ago. She hasn't gotten the call for that. I would love to see her in Love and Thunder because obviously we know Jane Foster comes back in and they've been great friends, and just seeing that character, that would be cool. Maybe she was lying because I'd like to see her in that. But Wu, and even I think Wu and Darcy leading a Agents of S.W.O.R.D. It wouldn't be called that probably because neither of them are really S.W.O.R.D., but something like that where it is this X-Files like show. Not sure how it would work, but I think that duo was just electric on screen. Monica too, but I think those two were great. You could see, how that show could work, or any kind of projects really. And I think Wu, honestly, of these two, Wu and Darcy, I think Wu could pop up in a lot more naturally because he's the FBI. He could pop up in Falcon Winter Soldier. He could pop up in this and that. Like, who knows, right? Like, he could really be in anything, and it'd make a lot of sense.
And if he pops up, you're not going, oh crap, everybody's gonna you pop up and you get excited. It's like, oh, it's Wu, cool. Right. If like somebody from Sword pops up, you're like, what are you doing? Why are you here? Yeah. Are you here to take everything and mess everything up? Or are you a bad guy, good guy? I don't know what you are. So like Wu's kind of like that cool guy that can pop in. I'll be surprised if he pops in Falcon and Winter Soldier because that's kind of really quick.
Me too.
And I think you may not ruin it, but I think maybe you got to save him and do him in the next one. But I see him more popping in Falcon and Winter Soldier than Loki.
Right.
Yeah. But I really want something with Darcy and Wu. But they could pop up in anything, and I think they could make it work.
Yeah.
Thor: Love and Thunder seems to be kind of jam-packed already. So I don't know if they're needed there, but I mean, there's so much Disney Plus stuff that they could pop in on that I think, and maybe we won't get the show right away. Maybe it'll be in the next phase or whatever it's going to be, but maybe it's another one where you see them pop up and you're kind of going, they're together a lot and doing things. Like maybe you kind of put together, it's like, oh, they're working together, and then they walk away and they got sword logos or something.
Right. Yeah. So, Thomas, what are your thoughts on these characters?
Honestly, I didn't want to hit that, but what am I doing, man? Honestly, dude, I don't know, man. I love this X-Files thing.
Yeah.
That we've all been talking about.
Right.
It would be an amazing. Well, let's just be real. It would be amazing.
Yeah. Especially if you went goofy with it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like you could really dive into werewolves and vampires and stuff in a hilarious way. Like
maybe
easily.
That's how you bring Blade, not Blade himself in, but they're doing this X-Files stuff and they pop in, and we already know certain things exist in MCU, but those two go, oh shit, vampires exist. Oh, this exists, that exists.
Exactly.
So, yeah, you could do it. Badass.
It'd be a fun little way of just being like, wait a minute, that exists? That's a real thing? Oh, those are real? Oh, and because of the multiverse, like if they're just being given this great breakdown kind of thing.
Right.
That would be very interesting. But really, when it comes to these two characters,
what I do know is I've been watching WandaVision for the past
like 8 weeks, and I just want more. So thank God that we have Marvel Studios assembled the making of WandaVision tomorrow, and then next week we get not only Falcon and Winter Soldier, but the Snyder Cut, which I will probably watch eventually.
Eventually is right. I don't know when I'm going to watch that, honestly. Like, I'm not that amped for the Snyder Cut. There's aspects of it I'm excited for, but it's like, when are those going to pop up? I'm going to try to get through it. But
I just want to see if it lives up to this godlike nature that it's had over the past few years.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, and that's what I've said, because on my show, we've talked about it a few times, the Snyder Cut. It's like, all right, now is the time to put up or shut up. Let's see what this is. Let's see if it lives up to anything that you thought it would be, and then we can move on.
I mean, the fact that it's 4 hours, like,
I'm gonna do 2 and 2. I think, like, because it'll come out that Friday. I mean, I'll probably watch Falcon and Winter Soldier first, and then do like 2 hours of it. And if I'm not like fully hooked, I'll stop, and then like the next day or so finish it up, because I want to be done by the end of the weekend, because I don't want anything spoiled for it.
Yeah,
but yeah, I can't see me sitting there for 4 hours straight.
Yeah, and I mean, it's in 6 chapters they stay, which is also kind of
that's how I'm gonna break it up.
Yeah, probably.
It's like skippable. Like, I'm skipping to this chapter, because then I would it'll be so much easier.
That would be nice.
Maybe. Pausing, because I may or may not share HBO Max thing with David.
True.
So I don't want to like leave him in a weird spot or something.
Yeah, that's really like. Yeah, I hadn't thought about that. Yeah,
but
no,
I'll probably
I don't
watch it before you, knowing me. So
David just hops on, and Wanda's there. What the hell? You ruined everything for me.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I don't know. We're definitely gonna. Obviously, we'll talk about it on here eventually, but I'm not like chewing at the bit for that, like I am for Falcon Winter Soldier. I'm gonna watch that ASAP when that drops Friday morning, and along with pretty much everyone else I know.
Yeah,
at least
I'm
everyone
just
else.
ready for a good. We had the really smart one with all the hidden stuff. That, like, WandaVision was more of like a good storytelling and everything, and I think Falcon and Winter Soldier will have good story and everything, but we're gonna get back to the action and the funny lines and more cracking jokes and
real world buddy cop.
Yeah. And then we get Zemo, a full hooded Zemo, which, I can't wait for that.
Deeper look into him, real world. Like, who knows? My biggest question at this moment is, when does this take place? Because that's a big, like, we're trying to.
When are we?
Yeah, when are we is right. Because obviously we know Spider-Man Far From Home was like 8 months after Endgame. And then WandaVision was just like a month after Endgame. 3 weeks, exactly. So,
I think Falcon and Winter Soldier is right after this, or right in the time frame. Like, we're still in between the two time frames. I don't think it's after Spider-Man.
Me neither.
I think, because right now WandaVision has already, Wanda herself put a fear into people. We're getting that fear and hatred of heroes, and also possibly people with powers, which could go into mutants. But I think WandaVision, Falcon and Winter Soldier, and Spider-Man 3 is the buildup of the hatred and non-trusting of powered people. And then you're going to get into the fallout of that afterwards, which will be a mess for some other places. Because Zemo, there's a line in there somewhere with Zemo saying heroes need to fall, or something.
Yeah, no more superheroes.
He's trying to make heroes a bad thing again. So I think really we're going to see the breakdown of the world trust of all these different heroes and power people.
I mean, I think that's something interesting they need to kind of play with that we haven't seen quite yet, is like people blaming them for the blip and the snap, and like them not being necessarily the heroes, but like, you brought this on us, and things like that, which it's funny because we've seen that more in the Snyderverse of Man of Steel than Batman v Superman, of like the, what is Superman?
Right.
Some of those themes I think are completely underrated. That's just my opinion. They're good. They're not in the best movies. I mean, I think Man of Steel is awesome, but Batman v Superman is kind of all over the place. But some of those themes I think are really strong. All right, Thomas, we've reached the end here, man.
You have.
Thanks for joining us, Josh. We really appreciate it.
Josh, where can everyone find you on social media and buy some of this amazing sexual artwork?
So you can find all my stuff, the podcast, the graphic design, all that good stuff at JBauerArt.com. If you want to get art pieces like the mini print you saw there with Thomas, or this bad boy right here. This is the limited edition Iron Man print that I have going on right now. There are only 20 available, and I stopped selling them March 15th. So, and then they're gone for good. You won't be able to get them. And then I also have, I have these bad boys here. These are hand-painted comic book covers that you can buy for $75 each.
So cool.
Yeah, so there's tons of stuff like that. All the paintings behind me are for sale, and there's so much more on the art shop. And then there's also a threadless merch shop. So like I designed different shirts. You can get the Back Talk with Bauer shirts, Bauer Club, No Rest for the Creative, all kinds of different shirts that I've created myself and come up with. So all of that at JBauerArt.com. And then my podcast, Back Talk with Bauer, is live here on the HWWS WebTV YouTube channel. Or not live on the YouTube channel, but live on the Facebook page and my page every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern. Every other week is an interview with somebody creative or somebody that interests me. And then the in-between episodes are random chats of certain topics. So this past week, we just had a small group chat with Dan Fox over at All Fine and Dangy about WandaVision. And we broke down WandaVision like hardcore. So, check that out. And then this coming week, I'm actually talking to a guy that works as like a Lego builder and works with Lego. So that'll be really cool. And then WrestleMania episodes coming in 2 weeks. Hopefully they announce some more matches for WrestleMania because there's not much on the card, but we're going to break it down in a group chat and have a good WrestleMania discussion here soon.
Cool. That all sounds awesome.
Awesome. And thank you guys for having me on. It was great to chat with you and chat about all things Marvel and comics and movies.
It's what we do. Thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, yeah.
And we'll go ahead. We'll let you go. I know it's late and it's not your bedtime, so we'll go ahead and let you go, Josh.
Right,
love you, brother. Thank you for the support. Thank you for joining us and talking and having a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone go buy his art now. That's a command.
Yes. And then make sure you get a LightsThunderAction shirt like I do. They're awesome. Later, guys.
Thanks, Josh. All right.
David, where can everyone find you on social media?
First off, Josh, what a great guy. Just a great guy. Great guest. Just really enjoyed that. You guys can find me at David Thompson on Facebook, David J. Thompson on TikTok and Instagram, and at David Thompson with 2 A's in the David on Twitter. Go follow me on Twitter. That's where I'm most active. That's where I like to talk about these topics the most. It's what the social media I enjoy using the most. Thomas, what about you?
You can find all of my links at Linktree.com/TCRochesterACT. That is TCRochesterACT. You'll find everything from my Facebook to my Instagram, my YouTube, my Twitter, maybe my TikTok. I don't remember if I put that on there. Our shop, the Threadless shop, that you can buy a lot of amazing stuff that we got there, like Josh said, our LightsThunderAction t-shirt. Or my favorite item, a mug with David's face and my face, and I drink coffee out of it every morning. Every morning, bro. So, David, what do you have to promote this week?
Yeah, you guys just check out thedirect.com. I'm writing on there. I just wrote up a story about Blade today. Check out thedirect.com. I'm going to be on this week's The Direct podcast. So look out for that. The Direct podcast. You guys can find it on everywhere you can find our audio podcast. Google, Google, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all that good stuff. I will be on there. I think they post it on Sundays, so look out for that. If you follow me on Twitter, I'll surely be retweeting it and sharing it out. Just check out thedirect.com, keeping up with the latest news, and check out my articles if you want, because you know me from the show, so you guys can read my work. Thomas, what do you have to promote?
So I actually just had a new short film be released on YouTube that I was a part of. The movie is called Cheapskate. It is about 8-ish minutes or so. It is on YouTube. It's written and directed by Kirkland Long. Filmed here locally in the Northwest Florida region. Mylan Smith is the other main character in this film. He and I have an interesting back and forth in certain sections. Really fun film. Really excited for everyone to see it and what they think about it. It's not exactly who I normally prefer playing the kind of characters. But yeah, check it out, man. And then, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, it's been a long show. I love you. You love me. we're the greatest happily family. That's not right. You didn't even watch Barney, did you?
Oh, I love Barney. Are you kidding me?
Oh my God,
my
yes!
gosh.
Yes,
You have no
100%.
idea. I love Barney. Oh, when I was a little kid.
Anyways, man, like PJ was that dude with the sneakers, bro. Like, next week will probably be actually an early show week. On Tuesday, we might have another guest. We're getting our butts back together, being guests. Not being guests and having guests on the show.
Yeah.
So be our guest. Be our guest. I do not know the rest.
We should start playing that when we introduce someone.
You know what? That's brilliant. This is what happens on late in night shows, basically. But this, ladies and gentlemen, next week will be probably before all the stuff. It'll probably be an interview, a little bit of the news if we have news. Hopefully, we'll figure out something to talk about.
Yeah,
right, David?
Absolutely, always.
But
look at us today.
This has been episode 48 of Lights Thunder Action, and we have said goodbye before, so it stands to reason we'll say hello again.
Bye, everyone.